Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I have managed to finish something. I talked about it last week. I'd started it last week, but I changed my mind and ripped it back. If you watched this week's or Tuesday's video, which was my August studio vlog, a weekly vlog, which I filmed last week, you will know what I did. I've made progress on another project, which I don't know if I talked about last week because I haven't written down in my notes about it. Made a little bit of progress on something else. I've got a deadline project I need to get started on tomorrow or before the weekend. I have a special offer on a pattern and I have my birthday offer. So lots of exciting things to be going on with. Oh, and I have a magazine design as well. No, not one. I have 2 new magazine designs. So we'll chat about that as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website, YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And don't forget, I have my birthday offer, which is valid till the end of August. So only a week and a bit, 9 days, 10 days? Yeah, 9 days, I think, by the time this video goes out, to go. My birthday is this weekend, finally, and I'm really excited about it. My daughters are coming home. One of them came home a couple of weeks ago. The other one I haven't seen for quite a while, so I'm looking forward to spending some time with the girls. The weather forecast looks good, so it should be a good weekend to celebrate my birthday. And because my birthday is over a bank holiday weekend, which it does quite often fall on the bank holiday weekend, we can make the celebrations last all weekend, all 3 days. My birthday offer is 15% off all my online courses, which includes continental knitting, finishing techniques, successful socks, successful lace knitting, successful brioche knitting, Scandinavian stranded colorwork, and steeking. They are you work at your own pace. They're pre-recorded, and you can go back in and work through them at your own pace, at your own time. Go back to it whenever you want to. You keep a definite access to the course, but I'm there to answer any questions you have along the way. So even though it's pre-recorded, you do get support if you need to underway. And that offer is valid until the end of August. It's also 15% off everything in my online shop. So YarnAddict.co.uk, 50% off. The code, which I'll put on the screen, is birthday15, all one word, birthday15. So 15% off all online courses and my website, valid until the end of August. And just a little note, I did talk about this last week, I think. US tariffs are causing a lot of problems in Europe at the moment. I saw yesterday that Norway, Sweden, and Denmark have all announced that their postal services can't handle shipping to the US for the time being. Apparently, Royal Mail have found a way of handling the tariffs. Basically, from what I understand, because I guess this has come at such a short notice, and I mean, let's face it, I don't think Trump knows what he's doing from day to day, so how on earth is anyone else supposed to know? But I think the way I get it is that the carrier, the postal service, has to collect the tariffs from the sender and pay it to the US government. That's the way I understand it. Now, I'm not covering tariffs on anything. If I sell anything to the US, I expect the buyer to pay those tariffs because I can't afford to cover that. The problem is that I think at the moment Royal Mail have said, from what I understand, that they will, if you have a business account with them, you can set up to pay tariffs through Royal Mail. And if you don't, then I'm not sure what the situation is. But the problem is, it's not just me shipping stuff from here and that being subject to the 10% tariff, I think is, the UK is paying. It is where it's manufactured. So like my Monos Uruguay yarns come from Uruguay. My Yataghan yarns come from Denmark, but I don't know if they are spun in Denmark. They may be spun somewhere else. I don't know. I would need to contact Yataghan about that and find out. And there's different customs codes for different countries, so I'd have to apply different customs codes to my stuff from Uruguay and my stuff from Denmark. And I don't know where my books are printed. So it's very complicated, and for the time being, until there's a better system in place, I'm not shipping to the US. Is it called the de minimis of $800? That stops being in effect on, I think it's 29th of August. It is 21st of August today. So if I get any orders on Friday, the day this go out from the US, maybe I can get them shipped okay and get to you before the tariffs. I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, US shipping is off. I don't know if I can actually switch my website off. So I'm just going to put a note on there tomorrow, hopefully, if I get around to it, if I remember, to say I don't no longer ship to the US. I also don't ship to the EU at the moment, or Northern Ireland, because they have to follow EU rules because of Brexit, because of different rules, which I can't remember what the rules are now, but it's just too complicated, and I don't ship enough to make it worthwhile paying someone to handle all this stuff, maybe, which is what I'd have to do. So basically at the moment, it seems like I'm just shipping within the UK. I guess Australia is still okay. I haven't had an order from Australia for a few years, I don't think, but I don't know. It's not easy. It's all a big mess. So that's that. And then just a very quick look at a couple of workshops this autumn. I'm teaching Intarsia colourwork at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon on the 9th of September. And then I got some other workshops at the Knitting Hotel at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy. And I do have another venue in Devon coming up soon, but I haven't got the link to that yet. And that'll all be on my website, so I'll link that page below. And then in November, I'm teaching at the Harrogate Knit and Stitch Show. I'm teaching 21st, 22nd and 23rd of November, a variety of different workshops, either 1 or 2 hour long. I've linked the page below. When you go on that page, if you click advanced filter, you can scroll down till you see my name, and then you can click on that and you'll just see my workshops, because there's loads on not just knitting and crochet, but sewing and all kinds of other stuff as well. So lots of stuff happening this autumn. It's really, really busy. I am now officially fully booked, and I'm not taking any more bookings for this autumn, I don't think. Before I start talking about my knitting, let me just show you what's in the latest issue of the Knitter magazine. So I filmed a video yesterday talking about what was in the latest issue of the Knitting magazine, because I knew I had one design in there. And as I was clicking through, I came across this other design, a shawl, really beautiful, and I looked at it and I went, that's me, that's one of mine. So I have 2 patterns in this issue of the Knitter. I thought this one was in a couple of issues ago, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So this is the shawl that I didn't know was being published. It's called Anniken. One of my daughters, her middle name is actually Anniken, but it's spelled differently from this. And I knitted it in one skein of West Yorkshire Spinners, exquisite lace in the colorway Belgravia. And it is a triangular shawl without the center spine, so it's knitted from the bottom up. And I have a video coming out on, there you go. I have a video coming out on Tuesday next week where I talk about the 2 designs in this issue and show you what the sample looked like before I shipped it up to the magazine, and also talk a bit about the yarn and things like that. And I'll show you some of the other stuff that's in this issue of the magazine. So I actually have a copy of the issue on Zinnia, which is an app. I found that really convenient at the moment, because then it's on my tablet and I can take it with me if I go away and stuff and read it. And the other design which I knew about was Intarsia, which is a sleeveless top with a lace pattern on the top of the front and back. It's knitted in the round. I do talk about this kind of pooling stuff in the video that's going to be out on Tuesday, and give some suggestions for how to avoid it. It is knitted in Macintosh Fabulous 4-ply, which is a yarn I have used loads of times before and really, really like. And that's the back of it. So I'm not going to talk any more about that now, because it is in the video that'll be out on Tuesday next week. I wasn't going to talk about my socks this week because I didn't think I'd get much done on them. but I had a hospital appointment on Monday. I don't think I actually knitted much while I was waiting. I had a hospital appointment at the eye hospital in Plymouth because I have tear duct plugs fitted to treat dry eyes. And actually, one fell out when I was in Norway in July and one fell out a couple of weeks ago. So I rang up and I was only due for an appointment anyway. So I rang up and said, could I have an appointment? So they've fitted new ones now. My appointment was at 9 o'clock in the morning. And you have to go in and see a nurse or optical assistant. I'm not sure what they are first, and they test your eyesight and a couple other things, and then you wait and see the doctor. And my appointment was at 9. I saw the nurse at 9:05. I didn't see the doctor till 10:30. Now, if you're running an hour and a half late, that for your 9 o'clock appointment, I dread to think what the afternoon will be like. But I did knit a little bit in the waiting room, but not a lot. And then afterwards, I had to go across the road to a phlebotomy clinic to have some blood tests done. And when I got there, it said it was about an hour wait. It's a walk-in clinic. When I've used it before, I only waited for like 10-15 minutes. But they're much better at getting blood out of me there than they are at my doctor's surgery, so I decided to go there anyway. And I ended up waiting like an hour and a half. So I knitted from where that marker is, which is roughly also where that green marker is. I got that much done while I was waiting for my blood test. And then the doctor hadn't told me that one of the blood tests she had ordered had to be done at 9 a.m. And I was there about midday, I think, probably about 1 o'clock by the time I got seen. So I had to go back the next day and have that extra blood test done. But because that had to be done by 9, I think I got to 8:30 and I was told, just tell them you're having this blood test done so you don't have to wait, and missed the 9 o'clock cut-off. So I went straight in and got seen, which probably annoyed a lot of the people who were waiting. I don't know. So I've made some progress on those. I'm hoping this weekend, because the girls will be home and the weather's good, we'll be out and about a bit, and I might get some more done. I'd like to finish them this weekend if I can, but I'm only working on them when we're out and about because I have other things I want to work on when I'm in the house. So the next project I've been working on is this. I don't know, did I talk about this last week? Because it's not in my notes from last week. I'm wondering whether I had done the base or I was talking about casting on for this. So basically, this is a version of this bag. I knitted this last year with my Advent yarn from the Discreet Unicorn. Knitted it in December last year, but I wanted to knit it again to check the pattern and stuff and finish it and get it ready for this year's Advent season. But I also have a lot of stuff coming up. I have a deadline coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and which I need to start on tomorrow. And I also have a few other projects I need to work on. I'm very busy in September with loads of workshops. So I was a bit worried about knitting that because it is quite big. So I decided to knit a slightly smaller version. So I cut the stitch count by about 1/3. So this one is 2/3 of the size of the other one, so 1/3 smaller. And I'm using a dark grey, charcoal grey for the main colour. And then I'm using magenta and grass for the 2 contrast colours. And I wasn't sure how many contrast colours to go for, where to go for more, but I'm a bit conscious of the fact that if you decide to use the colours I've used, then I don't want to make you buy loads and loads of yarn that you'll just be using a small amount of. So I decided to go for 2 colours. On the bigger version, I did 3 rounds in every colour. So I changed colour every 3 rounds. And I'm doing the same on this one. I'm wondering whether I should have changed every 2 rounds on this one, but I'm doing every 3 rounds. And I wanted quite bright colours. I originally, which I talked about on the vlog, I originally tried it in with the pale pink and a light blue as the contrast colours. Didn't like it, so I ripped it out and started again with this. 75 rounds and I've done 24, so I'm about 1/3 of the way through the colour work. So I was hoping I might be able to finish this weekend. I've been working on it this week during the day, so all my knitting during the day and in the afternoon has been on this. And then in the evening when we've sat down to watch television, I have worked on the project I've finished, because if I'm doing colour work, I have to look at it. And we've been watching some dramas on a streaming platform that we discovered recently called You. which is U, just the letter U. It's on our smart telly and it's free. And we've been watching a few series on there lately. A few weeks ago, we watched one on the Mitford sisters. I'm not sure if it's called the Mitford sisters or the Mitfords, but it's very, very good. Then we watched Atlantic Crossing last week, and this week we've been watching Bergerac, the new version. So those of you who are British and Norwegian, because I know it was on telly in Norway, may remember Bergerac from the 80s, set in the Channel Islands. My mum watched it a lot. I've seen quite a bit of it, but I wouldn't say I was a huge fan because I was a teenager, but my mum loved it. And it was the reason she wanted to go to Jersey when I first lived here. And there's a new version. It's only 6 episodes, I think. We got one more episode to go, which we're hoping to watch tonight. So I quite enjoyed it, and I hope they make more. It's not the best series I've seen lately, but I have quite enjoyed it, so I'm hoping they will make some more of those. So when we've been watching telly in the evening, especially if you're watching a drama, I prefer to knit on something I don't have to look at all the time. And with the stranded colour work, I do have to look at it quite a lot to keep track of what I'm doing. So in the evening, I've mostly been working on my second brioche clutch. So this originally last week had a different stitch pattern and a different color combination. I cast it on last week in the pink and a light pink, and I was going for like a chevron pattern similar to this one, but I had to change it slightly and make it slightly bigger. Now I love it with this yarn, and I've no idea what that is, but it's a little bit thinner than this yarn, and I didn't like it. I talked more about it, I think, in the vlog that was out on Tuesday, the August studio vlog. I didn't like it, wasn't happy, and I finished this one recently, which is the pattern is currently with my tech editors. It'll be out hopefully in September sometime. Finished this a few weeks ago, and I deliberately chose colours that wouldn't be my natural choice. I mean, I like that light blue. That's one of my favourite colours in this range, but I wouldn't normally go for navy. So I decided to knit in the colour that I would normally choose. So we went for dark pink and purple, my two favourite colours. And I realised yesterday afternoon when I sat down to knit that I was very close to finishing. This may actually be a few rounds shorter than the blue one. Like maybe like half a centimetre. Yeah, I don't know. Might be half a centimetre or so shorter. I'm not sure. Got to a point yesterday afternoon where I thought I can finish this before I record the podcast tomorrow. So I managed to finish all the knitting last night. And then on my breaks this morning, I was doing the sewing up and sewing on the clutch frame and then sewing in the lining when I was having my lunch earlier so that I could get it ready and talk about it on the podcast. So the pattern is with my tech editor. I really like the pink version, so this will be mine that I'll use. I mean, I'll photograph both of them for the pattern, and I'll bring both of them with me to display at Yarndale, and I'll have the yarn at Yarndale as well. And yeah, I'm really excited about those. So that is what I finished this week. That's all the knitting I've done this week. Oh, one more thing I need to tell you before I talk about some future plans. So this pattern I released last week, it is the square it off, I think it's square it off cushion mitered squares. You knit them together, so you knit the front together and the back together, and then you sew it on around the sides. I use 3 colours, you can use 2, there's notes in the pattern about that. The pattern is out now on Ravelry and Payhip, and it is 25% off until I think it's Monday. But I can't remember, but I'll link it below. And the discount details are on the pattern page, so I'll link that below. When I sent out my newsletter last week, I realised because a copy gets sent to my inbox when it gets sent out. And when I looked at it, I realised I hadn't actually linked to the pattern in my newsletter. So I'm going to do that tomorrow when I write my newsletter. And I might actually extend the discount for a few more days just to make sure that nobody misses out. I have sold quite a few copies of the pattern, so people have probably managed to find it. If you get my newsletter, then you probably know where to find my patterns anyway. So that's the squared it off cushion. I used the Attica Merino cotton, which is very affordable. I think I worked out last week that the yarn to knit this plus the pattern is less than £20 plus postage if you order the yarn from me, obviously. And obviously you'd have to buy the cushion insert, which I got on Amazon. It's a size that's fairly easy to find. But I also really desperate to cast on for a crochet project. Is it called casting on when it's a crochet project? I don't know. But I was talking about this a few weeks ago, that I have rediscovered some filet crochet pieces from workshop I used to teach a number of years ago. And I knitted up a couple of samples I had. And I am thinking about turning this one into a affinity scarf or a cowl. I also have this one, which I'm not 100% happy with, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one or not. But I really fancy doing some crochet again. I thought this would be fairly small. I've also been wearing this crochet sweater that I crocheted when I was in Norway in July. I was wearing it this morning when it was a bit chilly, but it's got a bit warmer now. I've been wearing that a lot lately when it's been a little bit cooler. So in the evening, and if it's been chilly during the day, I've also been throwing it on over my workout gear to go to the gym. I don't like putting it on after the gym. The other day I put it on to go to spin class, and then when we finished, I was like, I don't want to put this on because I was really sweaty because it was a really tough class. So I didn't want to put it on afterwards. So I walked back to the car without it on, and it was a little bit chilly outside. But I've been wearing this so much. It's so lightweight. It's because it's a cotton silk merino blend. It's quite light. It's very light to wear, and it's also very lightweight in terms of warmth. It's not, super warm because it's quite light and airy and open. Crochet can be a bit heavier than knitted garments, so it tends to take more yarn than knitted garments. But because this is quite lacy, because it has this kind of grid-like effect, it is more open and much, much lighter. I think I weighed it when I finished it. I think it was about 400 grams. My other crochet sweater that I crocheted in like May, June time, I haven't worn very much. I don't think I've worn it at all, actually, apart from the first few days after I finished it, because it is a little bit thicker and a bit heavier. It'll be perfect this autumn, and I expect I'll wear it a lot, but at the moment it's still a little bit too warm. But I was thinking, I really fancy crocheting another sweater, and I don't know whether to do one of these again. I really like this one because it's so useful, and I can see myself wearing it a lot. I love this colour as well, because it goes with most of my clothes. I was thinking about maybe doing it in like a dark grey, because I have a lot of black clothes and I like grey, maybe doing that, but I don't know. I also came across this morning, because I was looking for something else, I came across I thought I brought it in here actually, but I haven't, so I've left it somewhere else. A crochet sweater that was originally published in Interview Crochet it has a tag on it. I think it was like 2016 or 2014 or something like that. And I really fancy making, I've always wanted to make a sweater in that design that fits me. And I'm very tempted to do that. But I also feel like at the moment I shouldn't be starting another crochet sweater, because it'll take me longer, because I do have one deadline in September, 2 in early October. I have 4 workshops, 2 in Devon, 2 in Warrington in the north of England in September. Then I got Yarndale, and then I've got like a week or so after Yarndale, week in a couple of days, where I've got 2 workshops at the Knitting Hotel, and then I'm going to Portugal for a week, and then I'm home for a week where I'm teaching 1 or 2 workshops, I think, and then I'm going to Norway for 2 weeks, and then I'm really busy for November. So I feel like I should not cast on or start another crochet sweater at the moment. If I was going to use the Aftergarn Organic Trio, which I did for this one, I would have to order more anyway, and I will be ordering more for Yarndale, so I might order enough to do a sweater for myself. Also thought about doing the other sweater I made in a single colour, because I made it out of 2 colours, pale pink and purple, and I'm thinking about doing that in a single colour. I think I'm going to write up the pattern for the other one first. My plan was to try and get it done this month, but I haven't started yet, so maybe I'll get around to next week. August has been busier than I anticipated, to be quite honest, and also because I've not been feeling 100%, because I've been struggling with sleep and things. It's been difficult to get as much done as I had hoped. So I don't know what to do really, whether to cast on like a small crochet project just to satisfy my need to crochet, or whether to wait a couple of weeks and then cast them for a sweater. Tell me what you would do. I do need to, once I cast on this deadline project, I do need to focus on that. What I'm going to do tomorrow is write up the pattern for it and then work out, basically time myself for like say half an hour and see how much I get done, and then work out how much I need to do to comfortably finish it before my deadline. So how much I'd need to do per day. So if I decide that maybe I need to spend like an hour on it a day, I would actually probably then set myself a goal of spending 1.5 to 2 hours on it every day, and then spend the rest of the time working on something else. I also have 2 mosaic projects downstairs that I haven't worked on for a couple of weeks. Anyway, that's it for today. Relatively short podcast today. I've been trying to rush so that I finish before Simon gets home, and also because it's getting a bit late in the day, I want to go downstairs and sit and knit. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go downstairs, edit this, and knit in my colourwork project, and try and resist starting a crochet project this evening while I edit this, and then I will hopefully finish that colourwork bag by next week. One thing I don't think I said was I mentioned last week that I finished this crochet bag last year. I talked about this a lot last week, I think it was, and I need to make the lining for that. So my plan is when I make the lining for the colourwork bag, I can also make the lining for this, because it ended up smaller than what I'd originally anticipated. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that next week. At least that's my plan. So don't forget my 15% off all my online courses and my website, and 25% off the Square It Off pattern. All the details will be below. Check out my workshops in Devon this autumn if you're in Devon or you can get to Devon, and check out my workshops at oh, I forgot to say I'm teaching Intarsia for half a day or 2.5 hours at Yarndale on the 28th of September. I'll be at Yarndale with my stall, all my stuff, on 27th and 28th of September, but I'm teaching on the Sunday morning in Intarsia. Last time I checked, which is a few days ago, there was 2 spaces left. So do check that out, and then don't forget to check out Harrogate Knits and Stitch if you are planning to go to that show. I do have 2 more pairs of tickets to give away on my Instagram. 1 pair of tickets to give away on my Instagram, and 1 pair of tickets to give away in my Facebook group. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and you haven't joined my Facebook group, I will link those below, because I will try and do that post over the weekend so I can draw the winners for those next week and get that finished. I did one for YouTube already, and I'm notified. I've sent the codes off to the winners, so that's all sorted. But I also said I would do one on my Instagram and one on my Facebook group, because I have 3 pairs of tickets. So 3 sets of 2 tickets to give away to 3 different people. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and my Love of Lace Knitting Facebook group, go and find the links below and go and check it out. I am YarnAddict Annie on Instagram. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I will see you next week.